Welcome to Movie Rundown today. We are going to take a look at the movie Look Away. If you're ready, let's begin. At the beginning of the movie, we see an ultrasound image of twins, and this image is quite blurry. Then, a young girl named Maria looks in the mirror, goes downstairs to eat, and leaves her house. After lighting a cigarette, she gets on the school bus and obstructs a boy's path. She gets off in front of the school, enters and puts on her headphones, and goes to watch an ice hockey game with her friend Lily. Lily puts on her skates and goes onto the ice, where she starts kissing her boyfriend Sean in the middle of the match. Maria goes home, and her mother tells her about a childhood friend named George and wants her to go to the ball with him. However, Maria creates a drama as if she has received a marriage proposal and gets angry, running towards her room. Her parents talk about how introverted she is, and Maria overhears them on the stairs before going to her room and looking at an ultrasound image belonging to the twins in the mirror. While thinking about the country's political direction in the bathroom, Maria sees her reflection in the mirror looking at her, which scares her, and she falls to the ground. Then, when she goes and looks again, she sees her reflection looking at herself in the foggy mirror, but the movements in the mirror are not synchronized with hers. When Maria wipes away the fog in surprise, she sees her reflection looking at her, and she runs out of the bathroom. In the morning, Maria goes to have breakfast and wants to ask her father a question, but her father responds with completely different answers, as if he is controlled by artificial intelligence. He asks her to do his makeup, and Maria goes and fixes herself up. While Maria is going to school again, she sees Mark, who had previously obstructed her path, calling her, and she makes a gesture to him. She gets in Lily's car, who arrives in a sports car, and they pick up Sean and go to school. Mark trips her, and Sean has a small fight with him before they continue on their way. At night, while Maria is in the bathroom, strange events happen again, and she goes to the bathroom and tells her reflection that it is not real. However, the reflection does not think so, and tells her that they were born together and live together, and that it can save her from unhappiness. When Maria asks for its name, she gets the answer, Airam. In the morning, Maria comes down to breakfast happier and says that she has decided to go to the ball. Her parents are very happy about it, but Maria has not decided who she will go with yet. Later, they go to school, and Maria remembers that she will spend time with her father today, so she goes to his clinic. Her father takes her to the cinema, and when they come out, they meet Mark. Mark talks to Maria's father, Dan, and then they get in the car and go home. Dan tells Maria that he will buy her a gift, and Maria thinks it's a car, but Airam doesn't think so. The next day, Maria's father tells her that he will perform cosmetic surgery on her as a gift and asks her to say yes. Maria clearly says yes, even though she doesn't want to. Maria comes home and talks about this situation with her reflection in the mirror and starts laughing at something funny. At that moment, her mother enters and asks what's going on. Maria says that nothing happened and laughs. Her mother thinks she is on drugs and searches the surroundings but finds nothing. She goes and tells Dan about it, but he says there is no problem. However, Amy, her mother, does not think so and has a panic attack. Dan calms her down, and Amy tells him that she has started having the dreams she had before again, and Dan says that it will eventually stop. The next day, Lily takes Maria to learn ice skating, and Maria falls down. She asks for help from Lily, but Lily doesn't care much and says, "You know she belongs to me." Maria responds, "I don't know who you're talking about." But Lily does goofy dance moves and doesn't listen to her. When Maria comes home in the evening, she takes a shower and talks to Airam. Airam tells her about painful memories from the past involving Lily, which Maria didn't want to believe. Airam tells her to trust herself and him and offers to switch places. Maria agrees, and they are about to kiss and switch. But her mother knocks on the door and tells her she has a surprise. She puts a crown on Maria's head and tells her to have a good time at the ball. Maria goes to the ball and enters the ice rink with her skates. Sean takes her hand and helps her. They dance together and have a great time. Lily watches them, and when Maria falls, Lily holds on to Sean and doesn't let him go. Then Mark extends his hand to Maria, and after she takes it, he spins her around and embarrasses her in front of everyone. Maria goes home crying and calls out to Airam, begging him to come. Airam comes and offers her the same proposal again. Maria kisses him and pulls away. Now Maria is on the other side, and Airam takes her place and goes to her room. He lights a cigarette and lies on the bed, watching the smoke. Maria's mother, Amy, has a nightmare about the day she gave birth, and when she wakes up, she sees blood on her leg. The blood slowly disappears. Dan, her father, watches her and cuts his face, causing Amy to scream. In the morning, Airam comes to breakfast and tells her mother that the ball went well. Then she eats and goes to school. When Mark sees her, he says, "Good morning, Ice Queen," and mocks her with his friends. Airam turns around and approaches Mark, telling him that she is not laughing, Mark looks at her and Airam gets closer, saying, "I know you get turned on when you look at me." Mark trembles and stares at her, and Airam walks away. Sean asks him what he said, and Airam whispers something in his ear. Then Sean gives her the crown she dropped at the ball, and Lily comes and asks what happened. Sean just says that he returned her crown and leaves. Airam asks Lily to teach her ice skating, and Lily is surprised that she wants that after what happened at the ball, but she agrees. Later, Airam goes to her father and tells him she missed him and kisses him. Her father finds it strange but doesn't dwell on it. Airam then asks the secretary for something, and when she leaves, she takes the phone and schedules an appointment with a patient she had seen before. At the same time, she schedules a meeting for her parents, Dan and Amy and Dan's patient enter the building at the same time. Amy compliments the patient's dress, and the patient says, "This dress is Dan's favorite." Amy looks at her in shock. In the evening, Airam asks her mother where her father is, and her mother says he is working. When Airam firmly says that her father is cheating on her, her mother slaps her but immediately apologizes. Airam says, "I'm not sorry," and leaves. She talks to Maria in the mirror, and Maria tells her that she was too harsh. Airam explains that it was necessary and convinces her. In the morning, Airam goes to a hockey match, and Mark plays a prank on her. After the match ends, Mark follows Airam and enters the locker room. He approaches the sound of running water and leaves his belongings behind, but he doesn't see anyone. Airam comes from behind and hits his leg with a hockey stick, injuring his knee. Then she approaches him and tells him to be quiet. Later, she gets in the car with Lily, and they start practicing ice skating. Airam begins to perform better on the skates, and Lily is happy about it, but Airam gets closer and closer to her. Lily becomes a bit scared, but then does some cool moves, and immediately after, Airam does the same. Surprised by this, Lily does a few more moves, and Airam tries to imitate her, although not completely successful. Lily becomes uncomfortable, starts running away in fear, and falls, hitting her head on a rock and dies. Airam sees Maria crying in the reflection of her phone and immediately calls the police, asking them to come quickly. As soon as she hangs up, she reverts back to her emotionless state. The police ask her a few questions, but since she didn't touch anyone, they don't suspect foul play in the accident. Maria tells her reflection in the mirror not to do these things, but Airam doesn't seem to listen. Although Maria wants to go back, Airam refuses. The next day, they go to the funeral home, and Airam watches the surroundings. When a man starts watching her, she goes outside, and Sean follows her, asking what's wrong. Airam says she couldn't bear it because she was sad, and Sean comforts her, saying that everything will be okay. At night, Airam leaves the house and enters Sean's home. Sean lights a joint, and they smoke together. Sean still can't believe Lily's death, and Airam wants to confess something. She tells him that when she was with Lily, she wanted to be with him and touches him. Sean tells her it's wrong, but Maria doesn't seem to care. They then share romantic moments. Airam goes to a restaurant with her father and orders crab. They start eating, and her father asks how she felt after the accident. Airam tells him she's fine, and then asks when she will go home. Her father explains that things are complicated, and Airam sits back comfortably and drinks from his wine. Her father doesn't like it and opens his phone's camera, pointing it at her. He starts lecturing her and ends the evening. Airam goes to school with Sean and gets closer to him, having fun together. Later, they go home and romantic moments happen between them. The next day, as they go to school together, Airam offers to go to a hotel, and they enter a hotel room. Airam takes out the stolen alcohol, and Sean's phone rings. His mother tells him that the police want to see him and also want to talk to Maria, or rather Airam. Sean wants to leave, but Airam doesn't allow it. Then when Sean is about to leave, Airam tries to stop him, but Sean asks why he should run from the police. Airam hits him on the head with a bottle, killing him. She goes to the mirror and sits with Maria, crying together. Amy has a dream at night that she is Maria's twin, but she was born with deformities. Dan is in his office when someone knocks on the door, and Airam comes in, saying she's drunk and doesn't remember anything. Dan puts her to bed, scolds her, and when he turns around, he sees Airam topless. He yells at her to put her clothes on, but Airam asks if she looks beautiful, and Dan says she does. He insists that she puts her clothes on, and Airam asks, "Would you still love me if I weren't beautiful?" Dan doesn't answer, and Airam slits his throat. Dan falls to the ground slowly and dies. Airam goes to the mirror and tries to talk to Maria, but she doesn't get a response. Airam walks the streets at night and returns home, hugging her mother. If you enjoyed the content, please consider liking and subscribing to show your support. By doing so, you'll stay updated with future content and help us reach a wider audience. Your support means a lot to us.